Hi everybody and welcome to NFL Projectatron. This week we are going to be looking at the late game on Sunday night or Monday morning if you prefer on Channel 4. That is the Cincinnati Bengals at the New England Patriots. Rory, what can you tell us about this one?
I can tell you that this one is either going to be incredibly low scoring or incredibly high scoring. Okay. You have the Patriots who are after coming off of a real, thwanking. That's a bad word.
Thwanking is a bad word, but it's out there now. Okay.
There, yeah.
They were thwanked.
They were thwanked so seriously by the Chiefs. And the Chiefs who, people kind of forgot that they were a good offense. From last year, they discovered their form over the first 11 games and against the Colts in the playoffs. They played really, really well against the Patriots. They just did their thing and they completely slaughtered them. The main story in that game was the fact that the Patriots offense just couldn't get going. They really, really couldn't do anything. They got a touchdown from Garoppolo, which is nice. But who's this Garoppolo guy? He's the guy who's apparently going to be replacing Tom Brady because
the second most handsome man on the Patriots roster.
Tom Brady can't play anymore, apparently. And this is the story now because Brady's been playing below himself. He's every game this season he's hit below his kind of average for previous years, and he's getting about 150 yards a game. And it was the same story again against the Bengals. So they couldn't keep going. And they got wiped out. The Bengals have been in tremendous form. They're 3-0. They've beaten teams who have competent offenses. We've seen the Ravens. They beat in week 1, divisional game, and they beat them quite well. They beat the Falcons, and Matt Ryan is in great form at the moment. He's throwing left, right, and center, and he still couldn't do anything about the Bengals. And then they had that absolute washout where they destroyed Tennessee, and now they had a week to relax and reflect on that while the Patriots are coming off of a short week. This kind of spells disaster for the Patriots, but I think the Patriots defense will actually hold up in this game. I think it's at Foxborough. They're going to be a tough defense to beat, and they're going to want to come back from the embarrassment of a 44-point destruction at the hands of the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have more weapons than the Bengals do. And also they're coming up against Andy Dalton, who is not as good a quarterback as Alex Smith. Andy Dalton has, he's actually got one of the lowest throwing percentages for medium or long throws of a starting quarterback in the league so far. So if the Patriots focus on stopping the short throws, stopping the run game, they can keep this to a low-scoring game. That said, on the other side, the Patriots, I can't see their offense being any better than it has been already this season. They struggled against Miami. They struggled against Oakland, who got blown out by Miami, and they struggled against the Chiefs. They're going to struggle again today, no matter what happens. Maybe Brady has a sort of revenge game in him, and he wants to come and just throw downfield, but that could spell disaster if the receivers just aren't up to it. I think the Bengals are going to win this one. I do think it's going to be low scoring. I'm going to say maybe 2 touchdowns to 1 touchdown, 14-7. Maybe a field goal thrown in on the Bengals side.
Alright. It's interesting you bring up that the Patriots have struggled in 3 of the 4 games so far. In the 4th game against the Vikings, they put up big numbers, but it wasn't the offense that put up the numbers. It was on the defensive side of the ball. It was a great special teams performance, and it was a great defensive performance against struggling and clearly banged up Matt Castle. And that
another Patriot struggling.
Another Patriot struggling, and that was eventually what did for the Vikings in the end. The key factors in this game, as far as I can see it, are the Bengals don't let anyone run on them. The entire Bengals secondary is, I think they have 5 former first rounders in it, and out of the former first rounders, out of those 5 of the secondary, every single one of them is performing up to first round potential. And the one guy, the regular starter who isn't a first rounder, George Iloka, is having a career series of games. He's had 2. He's already had more interceptions in this, which is his 3rd season, than he did in 16 games last year. Their secondary is dominant, and he's just another example of it. The Bengals I really expected to struggle this year because they lost offensive coordinator and defense coordinator in the off season, and as it turns out, they've just turned into a more competent, efficient unit. As much as you might say Andy Dalton isn't as good as Alex Smith, he's at least as talented. He has as good an arm. He doesn't scramble as much. Smith doesn't get enough credit for that, but Andy Dalton rarely needs to scramble. The only time he needs to use his legs is when he's catching touchdown passes from Mohamed Sanu. He's having a great year because he's not causing turnovers.
Well, he's also arguably got one of the best defensive lines in football. At the moment, he might have the best one. Him and Joe Flacco of the Ravens. But both sides of the line for the Bengals are winning games. Tremendous,
And when you have the option of running the ball behind a really strong offensive line with 2 solid running backs, and if needs be, throw a couple of play action passes in down there to probably, I would say, the third, if not the second best receiver in the game in AJ Green, you are going to win games. And if you're playing against the Patriots, who last week against the Chiefs couldn't throw a ball 10 yards down the middle to an Eric Berry-less Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to have success in keeping the Patriots out. All you need to do then is run on the Patriots, which is something everyone's been able to do this year. And if you want to, you can throw at Darrelle Revis, who is being targeted every single week and failing. He's being targeted and giving up receptions. So it looks to me like the Patriots are definitely going to lose this one. I don't think that's the case. The question only comes down to how in control are the Bengals going to be of the game? Are they going to be so in control that at 17 points up they can say, right, game done, we just need to shoot out the clock? Or are they going to take control through defensive turnovers at some points halfway through the game, and then maybe put another 10 points on the board after that? That I think is the only question. It's not even how many the Bengals want, it's how quickly will they be able to finish this game off. If they finish off by half time, I mean, we could be looking, like you say, at 17-14. I'd like to think that the Patriots will have a little bit more fight in them in Foxborough. And so I think the Patriots will probably put 14 up themselves. And I think the Bengals probably double it, though. I think definitely 2 touchdown clear for the Bengals. 28-14.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Sounds exciting.
What about Projectron?
Projectron doesn't think it's going to be exciting. Projectron reckons this is going to be a 10-0 victory for the Bengals, with only one touchdown to speak of, that being a 2-yard run from Jeremy Hill. At the end, the highlight of which was at the end of it, he impersonated Stephen Ridley. You're watching it right now as you're hearing me speak. It's take that, Ridley. This is how a running back kicks down an imaginary door.
And doesn't fumble.
And Tom Brady, in the twilight of his career, throws for 45 yards. That's 22.5 yards per pick.
So there you have it. All 3 of us pick a comfortable win for the Bengals. Rory's going with a 17-7 victory for the visiting team. Projectron is picking a 10-zip victory for the Bengals, and I am going with a 28-14 win for Andy Dalton and co. The spread betting on this is only about the Bengals -1, so you might be looking at winning margin betting, and the total match betting is only about 46-47 points. But we still think you should go for the under. This is going to be a low scoring game, but the Bengals should win it comfortably. Thanks very much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week for more NFL Projectron, and don't forget to join us this week as we preview Chelsea versus Arsenal for our Premier League Projectron, and we'll have our Projectron podcast for the Premier League up as well. We look forward to seeing you then, but until then, enjoy the football.